Welcome to the Overdrive Outdoors podcast.
Your source for everything outdoors.
Let's kick it into Overdrive.
Overdrive Outdoors podcast brought to you by Predator Hunter Outdoors. Whether you are new to predator hunting or looking to upgrade your equipment, Predator Hunter Outdoors will have you hunting after the sun goes down. Carrying a full line of lights, night vision, and thermal optics, along with tripods, calls, mounting systems, and more, check them out at www.predatorhunteroutdoors.com or on Facebook at Predator Hunter Outdoors. Use promo code OVERDRIVE2021 for 20% off your order. Want to lengthen your time in the field and shorten your scouting time? Not only does the HuntWise app show you property boundaries, landowners' names, and in some cases even their phone number, but using the app will show you the wind direction on the map of the place you want to hunt. And the HuntCast feature shows peak movement times for various species, including predators. Get the HuntWise app at www.huntwise.com, the Google Play Store, or the Apple App Store, for only $59.99 a year for Pro or $119.99 a year for Elite. Use promo code OVERDRIVE20 for 20% off an annual membership.
All right, everybody. Tonight on the Overdrive Outdoors podcast, we have me, your host, Josh, and a guest tonight, Ray Dancer. Ray, how you doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. Hey, man, thanks for reaching out. This is cool.
No problem. I've followed you mod a couple different pages on Facebook and admin a couple. So I've seen you posting, and I knew that you were maybe just an older version of me right now. You know, the way you do a lot of things.
Absolutely.
But you are a big state land hunter, and I like that. I like following guys that do that kind of stuff just the same as I do, because in all honesty, some people would consider you and I to be like rivals out there. You know, we're going after the same deer, and I don't see it that way. I enjoy knowing that there's another guy or more guys going out there and getting it done on public land, which we all know it can happen. I mean, that's the hunting public. That's all they've done forever is public land. But I enjoy watching you do your stuff, so I've reached out. Yeah, I wanted to have you on here. I appreciate you answering me.
Well, I really appreciate it, and that means a lot to me, and you as well. I watch, your input, and the way I look at it is we all learn from each other.
Yep.
It's all positive. We just I like you. You're a public land guy. You get it done, and yep, I am maybe a little older version.
But I had to say it.
It is what it is. It's called life, but yeah, no. For me, public land hunting has been amazing, and 30 some years of doing it, and it offers amazing hunting. It does, and yeah. I am like you. It's like get after it. I get that buck. Go get that. Even if we're in the same area, I'm gonna go do this. You're gonna go do this. Sweet, get her done. And it's very encouraging. So there's a lot to offer with land.
Right, I agree, and we see. I don't know about you, but in your area, my area over here, it's been almost impossible to find a parking spot on public land this year.
It's definitely become more popular, public land hunting, and I think it's because a lot of YouTubers and myself, I put things out there, and it shows that it can get done. But I want to say with COVID that people have had more opportunity to hunt, but I think people are really starting to realize public land has a lot to offer. Yeah. It really does. There's some big deer out there.
Well, and the big thing for me is this is technically property we own. I mean, Absolutely. We're the ones that have paid for it forever. Without hunting money and outdoors money, there would be no public lands.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, we put a lot of money into our tags, buying all that. Everything we do, we support the state, the DNR, they give us the opportunity to hunt this property because we do this and take advantage of it. I mean, it's there and people can get it. They can get it done.
Yeah. Obviously, you can't manipulate public land like you can your own property that's on the maps under your name, but it's still all your property to go run around. And honestly, I think it's probably better than owning your own, because owning your own can only go so far. Where on public, I can run for miles and miles and miles and never run out of room. I mean, it's going to take me my whole life to run out of room in Michigan to deer hunt public land.
Yeah, one of the things about, for me, I hunted private land when I started out, and you're right. You were kind of subjected to that property. Okay. So you either figured it out, which was not too terribly hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it with public land is it's the unknown. For me, there's an unknown factor. If you go miles and miles and miles, you don't know what next deer is going to be there. The thing for me is it's a challenge. I love the challenge, and I love that. It drives me. And if I can share that, people I know that they're going to be like, man, they're getting it done.
Yeah.
You got to put the footwork out there, man. And it's very rewarding. It's so when I'm successful, it's like, I want to share that, but I also want to be like, everyone can do this. Just get one chance to, you take an animal on public property and you go, wow, I did it,
Yeah.
And then go from there,
Yeah. And that's how, I mean, when I first started deer hunting, my first season was in 2000. I was 12 in 2000, and my dad took me to a piece of public, and he had always taken me a lot before that to go scouting and stuff, but I wasn't old enough to hunt. I'd occasionally go walk around with him during gun season, just to see what would happen, but yeah, he started me off on public, and honestly, my last couple bucks, something about that area that he took me when I was 12 has always just stuck in my mind. I can still go to the exact same parking lot. I can still find the same 2 trees that I sat in that opening morning, my first season ever. It was just I think it was a split oak that was like split right at the bottom, big enough that you could climb inside of it. And that's where I sat. And I can still walk almost straight to that tree. It's just stuck with me. So that whole area has always kind of just held that spot in my mind or my heart, So I've kind of always focused around there. But now this year, I'm starting to branch out further and further and try to pick apart a couple different areas because, I mean, as we talked about, it's getting more and more popular, and these really good spots that automatically look good attract the most people. But the ones that don't look very good are the ones that I'm trying to focus on, because those ones don't get enough pressure, don't get much pressure, and the deer know that.
I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I started out hunting with my dad and grandfather, and my grandfather, we always went to Galen, and that was public land up there. And very, very vast, huge properties. Deer, I'm in Clinton County, and we all know there's deer everywhere up here. I hunt Maple River, I hunt Sleepy Hollow, Rose Lake, Muskrat Lake. I mean, I'm everywhere. I'm like you. The deal is, get out there. I use OnX. Okay, I use OnX app. I think you.
I use HuntWise. Yep, we use HuntWise. Yep.
And just recently, I'll pop up an area because, like you said, you start seeing some people here, there, pressure a little bit, and then I go, this kind of looks good. Well, guess what? Come January and February, when it's solid ground and if maybe the ice is froze or something, I'm on foot.
Yep.
And I'm covering a ton of areas. My OnX app right now, if I could, wish I had a picture of it. You should see all the markers I have location. Thousands. I have probably 150 marks in different locations, and I show people at work, and they're like, dude, where did you get all that? And I'm like, well, I walked it. And
Yeah.
I don't want to do it in September. I want to do it now because it's given me a lot of intel.
Yep.
And like you, I'm looking for the places that people overlook.
Yep.
And I've figured that out. It's took me a long time. But just in the last 10 years, probably, I've been really, really good at this. And even that being said, there's a saying I have, and I know this might come off kind of weird, but I hunt the hunter. I always watch. I might go into a parking lot, maybe 4 cars, right? And I'm watching the guy go this way, and I'm watching the guy go this way, and I'm watching the guy go this way. And I'm like, I'm going to break this down. So I did my homework, and I'm just going to tweak a couple things. And it just works. I don't know. No, it does. I share it I'm starting to get more where I share it and help. And it's gotten popular because, like you said, you should have seen the parking lots the other day. Oh, my goodness. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
What has been here? It wasn't like this before. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, hey, come aboard. Let's do this. You know?
Yeah. And there's, like I said, there's plenty of room for everybody, really. I mean, I don't know about your public land over there, but down here by me, I'm in Southwest Michigan. My blocks don't get any bigger than 1 by 1 mile. So I walk a mile, I'm at a road. There's a couple spots that are bigger than that, but those are the spots that always have tons and tons of trucks. But I'll tell you honestly, I look at those spots too because I know that if there's that much pressure, there's a reason. Usually somebody talked or somebody said something, and it's attracted all kinds of hunting pressure in that area. There's a couple spots this year that I'm focused on that are they get a lot of pressure. I'm just not hunting them very often. I am running trail cameras in them. You've seen some of the pictures that came off some of those trail cameras, and some of those deer are the reasons why a lot of those guys are in there. But it is not very hard, like you said, in March, April, before it all greens up, to go in and pretty much always find where everybody's hunting, because in my opinion, I think it's probably about 75% of the hunters actually do what they're supposed to by taking their tree stand down.
Oh, yeah.
I have tons of people's tree stands marked on my maps because it just, once you put a bunch of them together, you can kind of see like this whole area right here has nothing in it. Nobody's in there hunting, and that's kind of been one way that I've been doing it. But, for you in general, have you always been a hunter? Were you raised in a hunting family? I mean, this was just always something that was in your blood, or did you have to kind of learn a lot on your own?
Well, I come from definitely a hunting family. I was introduced to hunting at a very young age. I would say I started probably following my dad. Well, I've always followed my dad around and my grandfather. I remember the days of just sitting on the ground in a built up, we put sticks around, build a ground on a corner of a fence post here, there, fence line here on that private property. And I would watch my dad be blasting away at deer, and the excitement of that 100 crosser, and he'd get them, and I'd be like, that's so cool, and everything. And I want to say between that and just spending time with my grandfather and going up north, hunting with him, and I mean, we have a pretty decent size family, and I'm like the only one for some reason. It stuck with me, and the passion was instant for deer hunting. And I was like, man, this is sweet, and I just ever since, and I just kept following my dream. I'm gonna be I want to hunt, and I really took it to another level, I should say, in the family. But my passion is bow hunting first, number one. I love to bow hunt. I think archery is just, I don't know, something about archery. I just love it. But
that's me too.
Between my dad and my grandpa, that's where I got it, and I absolutely just I love it.
Yeah, no, that's me too. I mean, I don't remember my first hunt. I mean, my first official going hunting, it was probably, I'd assume, rabbit or something like that, where I was probably the rabbit dog at that point, stomping the brush piles or something. But yeah, it's basically been, I've been around hunting my whole life. My dad hunted forever, and honestly, it took him a long, long time to kill a deer. His first deer, I don't remember how old I was. My mom actually got a shirt made with the picture on it of all of us standing around his first deer saying, and the words on top said, finally. That's all it said.
Nice.
He had a shirt that he wore forever of that. But I think part of that, part of that drive for me was also seeing my dad go out and struggle for a long time. And I knew that if I was going to be a hunter, I mean, you consider how much time we hunt. It's kind of owed, in my opinion, to my wife and kids that I better dang well come back with something at some point because I've spent so much time away trying to do it. I need to have some kind of success. And I know that's not what it's all about, but in the back of my mind, sitting up in a tree, I mean, this weekend, for as an example, I was gone. I left Thursday after work, hunted Thursday night, all day Friday, all day Saturday, Sunday morning. Then I came home, got home at 2:30, and my wife said, "Are you hunting tonight?" I mean, I've already been gone 3 days,
That's a beautiful question. Yeah.
I said, "Well, if you don't mind, I mean, I'll go out." Well, my daughter loves venison heart.
That's
She
awesome.
said, "Your daughter is waiting for venison heart, and we need to process some venison. We're out. We're fresh out of venison from last year."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, if you're not going to divorce me over me going out again, I'll be out there." Nope, go ahead. And so, that to me is always in my mind. Even last night, sitting in that tree, like I've been gone all weekend, plus an extra day. If I need to eventually bring something home, but I know too that it just is going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm in the same boat.
14 years like my dad took, but some
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, no, I was very fortunate to harvest a deer when I was 15. The first deer I ever killed was a little 5 point. Actually, I'm looking at him right now over
Yep.
here. Got him with my dad's 870 pump, but
That's what my first deer came to.
sweet. And I actually got a black eye from my dad's scope because I had to go so close. And it's actually right here. I'll show you. It's in this picture right here, but you would have to see the picture. But I got a black eye. Look at that close, huh? But that and then I was fortunate to it took me a couple more years, and then I got one with a bow, and I got him mounted right here. But it was a little sub point, got lucky on that. But I don't know. I just took it to a new level. I wanted to run with it, man. And like you say, my wife, she's like, she posts on Facebook. Well, it was a little funny about something about my husband hunting or no, I still love him and all this. It was a funny thing, but it was like, I know, babe, but look at the freezer, it's full.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yep.
we don't have to go to the store and buy meat.
Right.
That's huge because I'm gone a lot. So,
Do you have kids?
I have a daughter. I have a daughter, and she lives in Kalamazoo. But that was a past relationship,
Okay.
and then this with my wife now, we have her 2 kids, and they're not into hunting though, so it's just one of those deals. But no, I kind of run with it myself, man. I go, so that it's me.
Yeah, and that's another thing right now that I'm dealing with, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, before we started recording this, but my oldest boy, he's really into it. And even last night I said, "Do you want to go hunting?" But he's had kind of a sore throat for a couple days, so I said, "Nah, you better just stay inside and, not go out for a while." And he's feeling better today, but he's like, "Dad, I really want to go." And I'm like, "Listen, you can't go out there and be coughing and all
Right.
kinds of stuff while we're out there. So just wait a little bit." But yeah, I mean, that's part of the juggle for me is like now that I have my kids and a couple of them want to hunt,
Yeah.
but it's like, but at the same time, and I know I've talked about this on a couple other podcasts, at the same time, we are more aware of what it's going to take to be successful. Whereas a kid getting into it, I don't necessarily know that it matters to them if they're successful or not. They're mostly just out there for the hunt or for the experience, But it's so hard to keep a kid invested, in my opinion, on public land starting out because the opportunities just don't come every day.
Right. I totally hear you, man. I wish that I actually had the opportunity with some younger kids because I to get them involved in it. I don't, they're my daughter's 28 and these kids are getting older, and it's like they've already kind of passed that time. And my daughter, she always had the thought of doing it, but it just wasn't in her blood. So I don't force that upon nobody. But
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you. Would I love it? Heck yeah, man. I'd love to have kids and take them out. And it's tough, especially on public land. I mean, there's no guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but it's like taking them fishing, take them and get them a bluegill, whoa, look at the look on their face. If you
Yeah.
get them a deer, man, or even see you get a deer, and that's what happened to me. I watched my dad get deer and I was like, whoa, man, I want to be like that,
Yeah.
And then my grandpa, I'm like, dang, dude, if I could do that, that's cool. And I don't know, it just stuck, I hope that we can get these youngsters in there, and I love seeing youth on. I love seeing these people posting pictures of their kids getting them, and I'm like, dang, that's so sweet. Hopefully they stick.
Yeah, I love watching that stuff too, and that's another thing that I get so irritated with on social media is watching these people just straight up complain about the youth hunt. And we talked about this on the youth hunt recap. It gets ridiculous. Like, how else are you going to, in today's day and age with all the other distractions, how else are you going to get these kids in unless you can get them out when there is no doubt a better opportunity to get them one?
Absolutely. I hear you 100%. It's a tough, I mean, social media is good in some ways, but it can be very destructive. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough world how it's changed. I mean, geez, look at me. I'm 48. Back in the day, we didn't have it. I took pictures. I have thousands of little pictures, of me. That's
Yep.
or we called, or we went over and seen the deer hanging in the garage or whatever,
Yep.
So yeah, it's tough. I mean, it has its pros and cons, I guess. I mean, the
Yeah.
negativity though, I'm not good with negativity. I don't. I like positive thinking and congratulate everybody on whatever makes their heart pump.
Yeah.
Is what I have does coming up, my heart's just going like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get an opportunity. So
Yeah, and that's how I posted a video earlier today from that ATN binoculars that I've got of the 8-point that I passed this weekend, and I posted right in the video, listen, I'm shaking in this video, but as soon as that stops, I got no reason to be doing this anymore.
yeah, exactly.
That's the love. That is that adrenaline rush that it's just that dump every time that just gets you, and that's what keeps me hooked, but also chasing some of these big state land bucks, which
Of course.
I've only killed 2 of the big ones in anybody's book, but all of them have made me happy when I release that arrow. So that's why I do it.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, it could be a squirrel that's moving behind me. My heart starts pumping. I'm like, oh dang, it's a squirrel.
Every time.
I'm like, damn it, that little squirrel, he got me going. But I take pictures of videos of little, the little ones below me. I'm always posting it, and it's like that's just awesome. I just love seeing it. It gets me pumped, and I'm like, grow up, But no, I don't know, man. My heart just pumps at everything that comes in. It's game on,
Yep. Well, so when we first started talking, you mentioned that you do a lot of your scouting in the late winter, early springtime.
Yep.
What are you trying at that point in time? What are you trying to focus on? I mean, what is your scouting at that point telling you for the coming deer season? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'll be honest, I found a lot of good stuff this year, postseason, in the wintertime and early spring, and I've got it all marked. I've got it all, but all the sign that I run off of is, rubs from, let's say, just 2020. I know where there's a ton of good rubs, but I'm assuming most of those to be rut time locations. And for this time of year, we're recording this on October 11th. So we're only 11 days into season. Is there any sign that you think you could find in the spring to tell you where the deer are going to be in the beginning of deer season?
With the new area that I'm hunting, I hunt Maple River. I don't care. You put that out there. There's a lot of crop fields and this and that. But when I go out there in the winter,
Public land crop fields?
Are
the crop fields on public land?
Oh, okay. Yeah. You got bean fields, corn fields. It's states doing this stuff.
Okay.
But there's a lot of that public land that butts up to a lot of private property as well. So I use that to my advantage. But when I go in January, February, March, I want a little snow. I look for pitch points or bottlenecks or a funnel kind of area, something they have to go, something that brings them down and go around, or they're coming to a crop field. They're going in and out of there. I do look for bedding. That's river, so there's bedding all around that. But no, my biggest thing is if I see massive runways in the snow, I don't think it changes much, in my opinion, from what I've learned over the years. If I see a funnel or a pitch point or a flat, oak flat, I'm looking for that. I see them in there, digging up the ground, and I just put that in my head. I mark the spot, and then I'll put a camera in there, and even in the winter, I'll put a camera in there, and just so that I can kind of keep an inventory of what kind of activity is going on. But that always seems to be my best time to scout, because I don't believe in when bucks. They can make buck rubs anywhere, everywhere. They're going to cruise. They're going to hit the tree, hit that tree, hit that tree. A scrape line, yeah, I believe scrape lines are, but I don't see that really in that time. But it puts me in a general consensus of I need to make sure I mark this and check this out, because there's too many daggone trails that are maybe 3 or 4 trails are coming in and meeting at one spot, going around and then split off. And
which is a lot of times where you'll find a community type scrape, right?
Absolutely. I've done that before. I've done it on Sick Hall. I found a community scrape where there's like three trails coming in, and I've got some beautiful cam pics of every deer that goes by there. They're touching that licking branch, and they're checking that out. And I don't necessarily hunt on top of that. I hunt maybe off of that when they're coming to that stuff. But no, my scouting is miles and miles and miles on foot. Look for a funnel. Look for a pitch point, a bottleneck. You know what a bottleneck is? Just like a bottle of beer. It bottles down. And those are just areas that you're going to see, especially during the rut when they are cruising looking for does. You can't go wrong.
So do you put more faith, I guess, in a scrape line than you do a giant rub line? I saw a picture you posted the other day. You had some big old rubs. You don't put any time into that, or you just keep on going after that to try to find better?
No, honestly, when I posted that picture of the couple of buck rubs there, that is a spot where there is an oak flat. Okay, it comes up out of bedding. It comes into an oak flat. And it's only probably 50 yards wide, a couple 100 yards long. What they're doing is they're going in there and they're eating acorns and they're just destroying it. But they will make a scrape line. I believe, my personal opinion is, if I can find a scrape line, that there's like a secondary trail, I would say.
Yep.
Other trails going into the oaks, but look at that back trail towards the more grassier stuff, tighter to the thick. You got to be careful when you're hunting it. Obviously, wind and all that, but getting in there. But when I see 4 or 5 scrapes, bam, 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 and they're hitting them, that's a no-brainer to me. You got to be on that, especially when there's an old flat. He went in there and marked that tree. He's not going to hit it again, probably. Maybe. But if there's a few scrapes down through there, he's checking them every time he goes through there. Boom, 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 boom. Got a camera on it. I got a couple of big bucks on it. I think you might have seen them. I posted a picture of a couple of them, and they're it's the one doing it. And I'm like, dang, he ain't been killed yet. So we'll see.
Have you found fresh scrapes already this year?
Yep, I was out just the other day. When I posted it on one of my other groups, I blew it because the duck hunters were going crazy. And
oh yeah, I saw that.
I was like, dang it, I gotta get down. And I'll be damned if I didn't get down. And I got to my bottom step, and 2 doe were coming in, great big ones. They blew at me, and I'm like, dang it, I blew it. I should have just knew that they weren't too scared of that. They'd probably been used to that anyways.
Yeah.
100, 150 yards off the river. But I decided to get down, and I went down by these crop fields that are public land crop fields. And I went around them cornfields, and I mean, there was a scrape here, scrape there, scrape here. I didn't really see scrapes in the sections of woods I was hunting. So that was kind of a concern because them field scrapes, I wouldn't hunt on a field scrape technically.
Yeah.
Because
especially
I don't think
an open field, right?
Yeah. Well, or a cornfield that's still up and they're hitting.
Yep.
That I like with the cornfield.
Oh yeah.
Because that gives them bedding in there and they feel more comfortable.
Yep.
So that is encouraging. Now, if I could find one of those scrapes in the woods, like they're just nailing one of these scrapes, I'll put a camera on it and go from there.
Yeah, see, and I have not found any active scrapes yet this year at all. But see, I posted the other day too. I'm trying to focus on oaks like I feel you should be because I don't have public land ag fields around here. I only have one area that's public anywhere near me that I know there's ag fields, but good luck getting a truck parked in any of them parking lots anymore. I mean, it's a very well-known area. So I've been looking for scrapes, and I've been running mock scrapes, and I have not had, none of my mock scrapes have been hit, but the licking branch has been above it.
Yeah.
And that's it so far. So I'm kind of waiting for them to just start tearing them up. I just got a picture while we were sitting here over one of those, and you can see a little bit of a rack, but he's back in the brush a little bit further. But no, that's one thing that I've been, because I started doing a lot of postseason scouting probably last year because we had so much time to do whatever we wanted, and most of my time was in the woods. And I marked a ton of rub lines. And I went back this year and noticed that the same rub lines were opened again. So my thought is, I've got a camera in this one section right now that's got just giant rubs in it. I haven't gotten any big bucks on there at all. I've gotten spikes, maybe a 4-point, but nothing big. The rubs in there are definitely from a big buck. So I'm figuring that spot is going to pay off come November, early November. But that's why I was asking, because I look for everything. I look for rubs, I look for scrapes. And if I find rubs coming up out of any kind of a thick area, I always kind of just assume, especially, you do the same as me, kind of where it's a run and gun setup. I'm always wandering around with my stand on my back, especially if I'm, if I can hunt that night. I've got my stand on my back. As soon as I start to see that kind of sign, I set up because I'm always afraid of going, you hear it sometimes, even on the hunting public, they say, that first best sign, you don't always want to just go by it because it's too close to the road or too close to the truck because those deer know that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of trying to focus on some of that this year. And honestly, I haven't hunted any of those spots yet just because my cameras haven't showed me that there's anything big going through them. But, that I've just been surprised that I haven't found any active scrapes yet. But you're finding all yours near oaks.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't want to say that I don't pay attention to rubs because anytime I'm in the woods, like when I'm coming out of my stand in the morning, I always, for some reason, think maybe I better go down here and check this out.
Yep.
maybe I should go over here and check this out. And I will say this: if I see a bunch of fresh shrubs, well, something's in there doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay. Maybe I'm 100 yards off. Okay, I'm gonna go over here, just like you said. You got that? You're running a gun. Oh, I'm going over here and setting up because why would I see a bunch of fresh scrapes or buck rubs and go, yeah, I'm not gonna hunt there. No, I'm gonna go over there and check that out.
Yeah, I mean, we got a long season, so throwing one hunt at it isn't. I hear about it a lot. Is it a wasted hunt? I don't think any hunt is a wasted hunt. I don't think it's possible to waste a hunt. If you love hunting enough, you're not wasting any time. You're doing what you enjoy. But like this weekend, when I was up north, my cousin and I, we were hunting like poplar groves, old clear cuts.
Yeah.
And we had only seen a couple deer. And I'm like, man, where's the oaks around here? And he says, oaks? I said, yeah, we need to find the acorns. He said, no, my neighbor told me that they don't hit them acorns till winter. I said, that's because your neighbor's hunting all these oaks and doesn't want you in them. I said, that's crap. We got to find some acorns. So we get in, we get in, and he's like, I know a spot with some oaks, and it actually backs up to a private land cornfield. I said, hello? What are we doing over here hunting these clear cuts when we can be in oaks and a cornfield?
Yeah.
So we go over there, and as soon as we get over there in these oaks, I mean, there's rubs, there's trails. I didn't find any scrapes, but I didn't do a whole lot of wandering. He had hunted this spot last year a little bit, I think, in the late season. Maybe for the past couple years they have, but they've killed a couple better deer out of there in the wintertime. They go there during gun season,
Yeah.
And I said, man, this is where we should have been this whole time. Instead of wasting time in popple groves with nothing to eat, we should have been over here in these oaks. Well, on Sunday morning, I had hunted all morning. I saw 2 does right at first light. And at 9:30, 10 o'clock, I packed it up. I had to get home anyways. And I walked, instead of going down to the main walk trail, I walked the hills all the way back to the truck. And I'm not kidding you, Ray. You could see my truck from the tip of a hill, and there was a buck bed right there and rubs all over around it.
Oh, man.
And I text my cousin. I said, dude, there's a buck laying here 100 yards from the trucks, watching down there, seeing everybody come in and walk right by him on this trail. I said, it's all tore up. I mean, there's rubs in there as big as my thigh,
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. So this is where I would focus more time on. So I'm hoping he will, but obviously I'm not up there to do it all the time. It's 2.5 hour drive for me.
Yeah, that's what's tough, because when you couldn't put the miles in and scout that, and say, wow, we need on this ridge right here, right where we're looking at the vehicles. Like you said, I remember hunting public the one time where Ward was I don't know, a couple hundred yards off the road. And them bucks were crossing there and running that little ridge, and nobody would have thought that. And guess what?
No.
Boom, you got a nice one. So,
see, I wonder more if it's people that don't want to think that that's how it's working. I mean, obviously, if you see the sign in there, it's happening.
Yeah.
Is it that, or do you think that people just don't want to? They feel stupid sitting in some spots.
Well, I think it's. I honestly, I think because of what I've gotten emailed and stuff, yeah, I think people think, why would I hunt there? Why would you hunt there?
Right.
I mean, I don't think they feel confident in that decision, but if they need to, they need to do their homework and figure it out, because that's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, if you can see the sign that's there and you walk right by it and give it no second thought, like you're.
Oh my goodness, I'd be all over it if I seen that when I'm walking. I can check this out.
Right, exactly. I've got some spots, like I said, that they're not very far off the road. If I set up a tree stand, I'll be watching cars go by, but the sign in there just tells me that I need to be in there.
Oh, absolutely. They're not afraid of cars. They're not afraid of that stuff. Listen, Sleepy Hollow State Park I hunt, and everybody's going to hear this. It's a state park where there's bike trails, okay?
Yep.
There's people walk. There's horse trails all over in this park. I've killed a couple of my nicest bucks right between. I got a little hole. I've got that spot. I need to get in there, but I like it during the rut because they just funnel that. But I can sit here and literally 50 yards from me watch people ride a bike right around me, and they'll walk down the trail and they'll be making all kinds of noise. And as soon as like that last half hour or 45 minutes, it quiets down, and here they are. They're right. I mean, it works every time. And other people might be like, "This is a terrible spot because there's bikers and there's walkers." The deer know. They know when to get through there, and they have to. It's a funnel. They got to move through there, around the lake, around this. It's a Sleepy Hollow State Park. It's a big lake. You got to go around it. They have no choice.
You're going to have a lot more people hovering over you now.
I haven't hunted that in a couple of years, so go hunt. But
tear it up.
It's all good. Hey, get in there and get it done. Hey, that's what we're here for. Help out.
Yep.
Be successful. Do it. But
with the scouting and everything like that, you use your maps a lot. Is there anything on a map that just draws your attention? I look, my HuntWise app is set at USGS Topo or USGA Topo. I don't even hardly look at the satellite image until I find some spots on topography that look like it's going to pinch or there's going to be a point that sets up right for the wind. Is there anything like that you do?
I got mine set up. When I pull mine up, it's not really that detailed. I look at the public land because it brings a different color out on it, and I look at spots. Normally, this is really weird, but I look at spots that are normally closer to private land because I like the fact that there's crop fields.
I do that a lot too.
Yeah, I like to try to absolutely find a spot if there's a lake or a river, a creek, something that makes them pinch down. Maybe a little spot that is a segment. There's a little piece of public property that's off of the main property. Let me check that out. And then I just put my feet on it. I go walk it. I need to see it. And
is pressure something that completely deters you from an area?
What's that?
Is pressure something that completely will deter you from an area?
No, pressure don't bother me at all.
Okay.
No, I like it.
And why is that?
Well, I like I said, I hunt the hunter. I love to see what other people are doing, and I will just go a little further. I might go, I see where these guys are going, and there's some people in here, but I feel like there's always, maybe they're not doing their homework. I don't know. I don't mean rude or anything like that. It's just I go in and look for, okay, they're doing this, but I don't think they're doing it right. I need to be over here or something. So that's where I go and I look, and that's what I do. And I've been successful.
Yeah, I think there's a big comfort level to that. People are not everybody run and gun hunts like we do, and I didn't do it for a long time. I know you told me you didn't do it for a long time. There's a comfort level in knowing that your tree stands in this spot. You know your way in, you know your way out. There's a good chance that one of us just randomly wandering around gets lost after dark. Now, thanks to, all our apps and maps and stuff that we have access to, it's pretty hard to get lost, especially in Michigan. My spots are I'm within a mile of a road one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I keep walking one way. I'm going to get out eventually. I like to stand there and listen, and a lot of times you can hear the cars. Even if you're way back, you can hear a car somewhere. So even if you did get lost, you can just walk straight towards that car or those car noises, and you're going to eventually get out. But I think that's a big thing is comfort. I have friends that still, to this day on public have 1, 2, 3 different tree stands set up on public land, and they have 1, 2, 3 different ways into those exact same tree stands.
Yeah.
And you can pretty quickly figure out, especially when the leaves start to fall and everything and people start beating trails into the ground, you can tell where people are going to hunt constantly. So I agree to that. I mean, The biggest thing I hate is actually seeing a person while I'm hunting. I do not like seeing people while I'm hunting. But knowing I'm hunting the same ground as other people, that doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I agree. When if it does suck when you're there and then somebody's walking through. I mean, listen, on opening day, we had that guy set up between 60 yards and 40 yards of my buddy. And we didn't know he was there, but we got there earlier and we already had our spots picked. But then we had another guy come in with a ball, and he was, I guess you call it, still hunting. He
Yep.
was walking and stopping and walking and stuff, but he was all over in there. And that was after Julian had already shot his 2 bucks. And I'm like, yeah, that's frustrating. But hey, to each their own. They all got to,
Yeah.
it's public land hunting,
Right, exactly. You can't get mad about it.
Right, and I had a big buck coming to me, and this is no lie. I took a picture of it, actually. I think I posted it. It was kind of a blurry one, but he was one of the big ones, making those rubs. And the guy that hunted set up between me and Chad was just to our northeast, but it was a southeast wind. And what do you think happened? He caught his wind.
Yep.
He was coming right to me. I would have got him if he wouldn't have caught his wind. He was coming right to me, and I'm like, damn, whatever. It's all good. But
well, why don't you brought up Julian? Why don't you tell, if you can, tell the story of those deer? Because that was pretty cool to see. I saw that on, I think, Michigan State Landslayer's page.
Yeah.
That was a cool scenario.
Yeah, you know what? I wish I could show you my texts because I still have them between him and I, because it was hilarious and it was fun.
A jumble of letters and not any.
We got all kinds of stuff going on. I'm like, you should see my text. Like, really? But he's like, Unc, I just shot a buck, and da-da-da. I don't really know what happened, and da-da-da. I said, well, just hang out. And he goes, you think anything else is gonna come through here? And I'm like, oh yeah, you just sit tight. You just hang on, okay? So we got lots of time. Let us hunt. We'll get your deer. Okay, man.
So this is a kid that's been hunting but has had no success?
This is only his 3rd year hunting.
Okay.
And he had no success. Last year, he got a deer out of one of my tree stands. His very first deer ever. And I think I posted that on State Landslayers. But this year, he came back with me, and now we're buddies. We're going to forever be lifelong friends, and we're going to hunt forever. So he got up in this area, and that I actually introduced him to. I didn't pick his tree out. I said, you need to pick it out with the wind. And he did it. And he's using a Lone Wolf custom. He's got her all done. He's all good. And, well, he shot the first buck. And I told him, chill, man, because he was all hyper, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, chill out. And then all of a sudden, about 45 minutes later, I get another text, and he goes, I just shot another one, Unc. I just shot another one. I'm like, no way, you shot 2 bucks. And I'm like,
opening day.
On opening morning, and I went, dude, hang out a little bit. We got a guy over by us. I'm getting down. So I got down. I was like, screw it. My morning, I had a big buck coming to me. He boogied off because of the wind, and I was like, we went over there, and Chad and I, my other friend Chad, I said, all right, show me where your arrows are. And I looked at the one arrow, and I said, oh, that deer ain't going far. We started tracking him, and boom, I was right there in the lead. There he is. Nice little, nice. You've seen him. Nice little 8-point. And then he goes, well, I need you to, I don't know really where I shot the other one. And I went, get back up in your tree stand. And he went up in his tree stand, and I'm standing over here, and I said, tell me where the heck you shot this deer. And he did that, and I looked down, I said, oh, there's the arrow. And I said, oh, that's a dead deer. Guaranteed. I can tell by the look of the arrow, I said, smoked him. I mean, both of them were quartering away. He put it right through the liver, lung. I mean, we tracked out. That one went a little further. I don't know why, about 80 yards, but I got him. I was like, look at that, mister. You buck tagged out. And he was like, I don't know how to process this. I said, you will when you get home. So let's take care of these deer because it's getting warm.
Yeah.
So I mean, to be part of it, and I'm so happy for the kid. It's awesome.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to dig in too deep on that spot, but that spot is pretty much an overlooked area.
It was until this year.
Okay.
And then we had a guy come in there, like I said, and then we had 2 guys come in there on the second day. But I will say this, Chad and I went in there the second morning, and Chad he was up in a saddle. He went in that little oak flat I was talking about.
Yep.
I still wanted my spot because I was like, dang, it's more by the bedding, and I'm going to stick here. Well, lo and behold, I'm texting him saying, there's $4 coming your way, by the way, as I'm watching them. And they all went literally 5 to 10 yards below him. But you know what he did as a saddle hunter? He was already kneeled down and he grunted, and the deer come running right in. So he didn't have time to get up off the, your knees are against the tree with his knee pads.
Yep.
So we're using traditional, and he drew back and he shot, and it wasn't the biggest buck. It was the second one behind him, which was another nice buck. And his limb caught his leg, and the arrow went doink like that, and he missed him. And I went, 7-yard shot. That's a chip. But hey, I said, well, you saved him for me.
Yeah.
So it is a honey hole. I don't want to give the exact location, but it's just one of those that people, and I think we pushed the one guy off because he's like, oh my God, I think I'm going to get out of here. You guys are all over this. I'm like, yeah, we've been hunting a couple of years. Hey, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good spot.
Now, you mentioned, you're using trad. I know I've seen pictures. You've got a compound, but you also have, a recurve?
I have 4 recurves.
Okay. And what? Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead with your question.
Well, I was just going to say, I've been kind of considering it because I think it would be just a blast to shoot a deer off the ground at 10 yards with a trad bow. Last year, I was borrowing one from a buddy of mine, and I shot it all summer. And I felt pretty good out to 20 yards, but then I kind of just right at the beginning of the season was like, nah, I'm going to stick to what I know. How long have you been hunting? Because you use both. How long have you been hunting with both?
I'll be honest with you. That bow you've seen the picture I shot that buck last year was my very first deer I ever shot with a traditional. So.
Okay.
I own that Bear Grizzly, 1973 Bear Grizzly. Bought it in 91 in Stanton. I just always thought, well, it'd be cool to use it. I don't know why I never did it. But my friend Chad he made the switch and went completely traditional, like probably 10 years ago. And he's been hounding me, man. You need to get that out. You need to get that out. And I'm like, you know what? I killed a lot of deer with my compound. And yes, I do own a compound, and I'm not getting rid of it. Because come rut time, like you said, 20 yards ain't gonna cut it. So I gotta have that compound, man. Right. I'm trying to go totally trad, but no, we just started in the last 2 years. I have been shooting the crap out of these bows, and it is so rewarding. The feeling you get when you harvest an animal with a traditional equipment like that, it's unreal. And we've been shooting some 3Ds, and it was just the people, amazing. They want me to go 100%, but dang it, like you said, if I got a freaking monster at 30 yards and I go, I can't shoot him, that's a tough.
It's kind of heartbreaking.
But I'm gearing towards it, so we'll see. I don't know.
And that's a bear, you said?
Yeah, I have 2 bears. I have a bear, that 1973 Bear Grizzly. I have a 1969 Bear Kodiak Hunter.
Okay.
They're sweet looking bows, and they both shoot dreams. And then I have that Black Widow. I just bought a Black Widow this year, so that's pretty awesome. And then Chad gave me a long bow, and I don't know the name of it, but that's pretty sweet too. So yeah, I got all kinds of shit.
So, well, with this year though, you already have tagged 1 buck.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the story on that one. It sounds like you were doing more of a mercy kill than anything on this deer. But why don't you tell us that story, and then we can finish up with that, and then kind of tell a little bit more about what you're involved in, and go from there. What was the story of this buck that you shot? Last week?
It was October 2nd. Yep.
Okay.
Got him on that was Saturday morning. Well, unfortunately, the buck come out of the bedding, and he had been hit real low, and it got way back. The entry wound there wasn't gut hanging out. Obviously, it was on the exit wound, but when he came in, he would come in and stop and lick his wound, and barely moving. I'm serious. It was kind of it was tough to see that. And I was like, dang, man, that sucks. And I'm like, what do I do? Well, I'm gonna take him. And it was only like a 10-yard shot. He didn't even. I mean, it wasn't like a true good hunt. I mean, like a normal. He's coming in with all his wits and all that. So I shot him, and I was fortunate to hit him at 10 yards with my recurve, and I stuck it in his lungs and just below the backbone. And he ceased right there, and that was it. But I burned a tag. It's not a tag I wanted to use, but you know what? I got another one, so that's for the big boy.
It's worth it when you feel right about doing it.
Absolutely. I'm at the age where I've killed a ton of deer, but I don't like to see an animal suffer.
Right.
I couldn't just let that deer try to walk anymore. I mean, it was a no-brainer killing. And I took him to the processor that day because when I gutted him, this might get a little weird, but oh my goodness, if you could have seen a video of Chad and I, that was a tough one.
Bad.
That was a tough one. And unbelievable, but the meat, we were able to salvage every bit of the meat. But it was nasty.
So you think he was shot opening day?
Had to have been shot opening day because it had to have been opening morning or that evening or the day because the one side was kind of dark, where the entry wound was.
Yep.
And that's usually an indication of at least a day.
Right.
But the accident, and it was nasty. I was like, oh, I didn't take a picture of that because I didn't want to show that because it's social media. I didn't want to blast that all over Facebook.
Yeah.
Now my picture was I was happy with it. I got it very good. But yeah, it wasn't your typical hunt, but
no. You got one more tag still.
But I got one more buck tag and 2 doe tags, so I'm good.
Right. That just means the deer gods are going to shine down and send that big one over there eventually. Because
I hope so.
Do you think he would have died from that injury that he had?
Oh, I guaranteed the way he was. The way that he came in and his, I can tell by the eyes up too. They squint like this. They squint.
Yep.
They squint. And I'm like, dude, he's not doing well. And I've seen it in the past. And I'm like, no, he's not going to live. When his gut's hanging out, there's no way that deer's going to live.
Right.
And he was hardly moving. And I'm like, I got to finish him. And I finished him.
Yeah. Well, you did what you felt was right. And that's, who can complain about that? Because I know when you posted, you said, I know there's going to be people that don't like this, but this is what I did. And that's how it's supposed to be. You have to, there's some people that I swear only go hunting so that they can post a picture.
Yeah.
And be proud of it. And there's a different kind of proud, though. There's a proud as in showing off because you did, or a proud because you worked your ass off and you did what, either the opportunity arose, like in this case, you did what you knew was right and you were happy to do so. I've done that before too. But yeah, I just wanted to hear the story about that because I had only seen little bits and pieces of it. You said he had been gut shot by somebody else. I was just wondering, if it was one that maybe could have survived from maybe the youth hunt or the Liberty hunt, something like that. Like it was shot that bad, or
no, it was definitely a shot I could tell from the day before because he wouldn't have lived that long, never. So it had to be the night before, and I have a trail cam picture of that buck.
Okay.
And I was like, when I got the trail cam pic before I shot that deer, I was like, dang, he's gonna be sweet in a couple of years,
Yep.
And I was like, damn, I gotta shoot this thing. I had to.
Yep. Well, you did what was right. Now, what is your arrow combination for that trad bow?
I use these arrows are called XX75, double X75 tributes. They're 2016s. I don't really know the grain, to be honest with you. 10.6 grain PI, but I use a Bear Razor broadhead. And that's 100 grain. And it's actually a very light combination. A lot of people use 100 grain insert, 100 grain tip. They're shooting 200 grains. But when I shot my buck last year, this thing literally blew right through that thing, and I was shocked. It was just, and it stuck in the ground like a foot.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of still learning on the arrow combination. So I got a lot to learn on that. I do my own fletchings and all that stuff. I use turkey feathers, but it did the job. And with my bear grizzly, this was the ticket. But I'm not using my Widow because I haven't figured out the arrow combination. I'm getting too much kick in this and that. So I got to do some homework. I won't even take it out in the woods. I don't want to injure something. So yeah, this seems to be the ticket with this, and it does the job. So I really, it's not a lot of information, but it's what I use.
It's more information than I knew about. I noticed with trad hunting, a lot of guys, it seems everybody pretty much uses two blade.
Yeah, because I think which is interesting because when I shot that buck last year with the two blade like this, there wasn't a lot of blood.
Okay.
And I hit right smack dab through the liver. I got lucky. I hit him through the liver. Dead center of the liver. But what I feel is the flight is better, and that two blade weasels right through them ribs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it was perfect. So I don't know. I won't go with a 3-blade or a 4-blade. No way. Not because these do have a spot for them 4. They come with a 4. You can put them
Like
little
bleeder blade or something.
Yes, and I don't do that. I keep them right out of there. 2-blade only.
Nice.
Yep.
Ray, we've had you here for over an hour now. You know, I know you just got invited to be another part of a big group of people, Michigan Outdoors Report. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and where people can find Ray Dancer and everything Ray Dancer is involved with? I mean, there's a lot of Facebook pages that I'm a part of too that I know you run, but what's up with Michigan Outdoors Report, and what are you going to be doing with them now?
Well, I considered it an honor. First of all, Tim reached out to me, and that he's the president of his page, and I've been following him for about 4 or 5 years now. He started the page a few years ago, but he literally just emailed me and said, hey man, we want to grow the group. We think you're a good fit for the group, and would you mind being part of the admin and a field staff? So I'm like, my first thing was like, am I reading this right?
Right.
I'm being asked to be a field staff for South Central Michigan, Central Michigan. You're South, but I'm Central Michigan, and I'm like, you know what? Goosebumps. Yep, I'm going to run with it. So I accepted the position to represent the group. We had a big 4-way, 5-way chat, and the intention of the group is to share our reports of our hunting adventures, fishing, duck hunting, coyote hunting, whatever it is. We want to take part in everybody's life, and we want everyone to show us their success and congratulate them. And we want to grow the group. Yes, our intentions are to grow as a group, eventually do what you guys do. You video your old stuff, and I've inquired in a couple things, and some things are going to come out soon. We just want to, like anyone, our dream is to show people good intel and get everybody introduced, and love the outdoors, and especially in the state of Michigan, love Michigan. We just want to grow as a group and be successful and have fun and watch everyone else have fun with it. And hopefully we can learn some people. They can learn us. I see the stories. I feel like I'm with them in their hunts. I'm going to go live a few times. I'm a huge advocate of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
48 years old, man. It's took me years, and it's finally kind of coming around for me. And it's a big deal. So it's a great group like you and Overdrive Outdoors. We follow you guys. We love what you do. It's awesome. And we're one big family. So we just want to have fun with it.
Good. Well, it sounds like you might have moved or something again, because I lost your audio there at the end of that just right there. But I think we're pretty much in a good place to wrap it up anyways. Where can people find you or follow you or anything you do on social media? If they do want to follow along and see some of the state land hunting, where do they find Ray Dancer and what you do?
Well, you can find me at Michigan State Land Slayers page, Michigan Public Landowners page, Pushing Limits page. Obviously, the big one is Michigan Outdoors Report. That's my main goal here is to promote Michigan Outdoors Report and we want everybody to just come like the page and let's be involved, or just reach out to me personally. Look up Raymond Dancer, Facebook. I'm there. You got any questions for me? Email me. Give me a shout. I'm always there to help out. Offer any kind of intel I can, and we just want to help out, man. That's all I want to do. Just want to make everybody be prosperous. Love this great state and what we do.
I agree. Well, Ray, thank you very much for taking the time out tonight. I can't be more appreciative of it. I know this one's going to get some listens, so we'll get this out there for you guys. And thank you again for taking the time, and good luck the rest of the season. Like I said, we're recording this on the 11th of October, and I am so far completely venisonless. So I'm going to be trying again this weekend. We actually have a cold front running through this week. It's supposed to be about 15 degrees cooler tomorrow than it was today, and I can't go the next couple days. So I'm going to be sitting at the house wishing I was out there. But thank you very much, Ray, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Hey, one last thing. I want to, follow the red moon. I forgot to say that. Follow that red moon. I'm a firm believer in the red moon too. But I want to thank you for reaching out to me. We follow you, man. We appreciate you. Good luck to you, man. Get her done.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. And like I said, we'll have to get you back on here again, maybe at the end of the season, and see how everything turned out for you.
That would be awesome. Thanks, man. Take care, Josh.
Thank you very much.